What's going on, guys?
Ryan.
Soulrider here with Mile High Trail Trials, having some
Yes,
beers
sir.
on the Uno.
Cheers. Heck
All
yeah.
right, so out in Denver, putting it down.
Yep.
Go ahead and introduce you guys. Maybe not everybody knows who you are.
Yep. My name is Riley Johnson, local Denver rider and Mile High Trail Trial organizer, if you will. And then I'm Enrique Garcia, just one of the riders out here that's trying to be more part of the community.
Nice. All right, so let's kind of go into the history of Mile High. You guys were one of the forefront circuits out there. Tell me about last season.
Yep. So probably not long off of this time last year, maybe a little earlier. Reached out to Ryan to try to get involved and basically got all the info we needed to set up 10 segments for our own Denver Mile High Trail Trial Circuit. So we had 10 segments last year, ended up utilizing a few of those again this year, some popular favorites, if you will. So yep, I ended up winning last year's circuit and went on to the underground finals in California out there at China Peak. So I ended up placing fourth place out there. Great
Nice.
place to ride.
Give me some perspective on being an outsider invited to the underground circuit finals and how you felt that went down. The terrain there, if it was anything like not what you're used to, the competition, like break it down for me.
It was kind of interesting coming from my perspective. I was a long time watcher, if you will, of the racing scene, and I, obviously out here took myself as being one of the faster people, and it was a good chance to get out there and actually see, where I stacked up against all these people that I kind of looked up to and admired over the last couple of years. Being able to show myself that I can hang with that level of skill and those kind of riders was an experience in itself. As far as the terrain goes, somewhat similar to what we deal with out here. We've got the smooth and flowy stuff. We also have our share of the chunk and the gnarly terrain. So I would say we don't ride that stuff consistently by any means, but we were on a fairly good foot to go ahead and tackle that kind of stuff. So
would you say the competition and the trails were legit? I mean, they're probably a lot more difficult than some of the other competitions out there, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say as far as the terrain goes, it was right up there with dirt surfers, maybe even a couple steps past for that matter. It was chunky. It was also kind of diverse, if you will. As you made your way down the mountain, you kind of got to see a few different deals, kind of made it feel like a few different seasons, if that makes sense. So yeah, it was really neat.
I thought it was a good time. It was, invite only, kind of low key, just all the best riders, good stoke, good, hanging out, riding lifts, riding all day. It had a much different vibe than any other competition I had been to, and I enjoyed that side of it.
Unique overall, for sure. To be able to ride the lifts up was kind of just a bit of a benchmark, if you will. I've been kind of waiting to get back to that level of competition, if that makes sense.
Cool. Well, let's start with what's going on this season. First, how's the weather out there?
Very toasty. We've got some boards that are starting to enter the overheat territory. GTs mainly, obviously, but we're no stranger to the warm weather. So, pick your times well. Wait till the sun goes down a little bit to get some time in. But dry, warm, about the best you could ask for racing weather.
Trail conditions good? They holding up?
Yeah. As long as you keep the shades on and keep the dust out of your eyes, you're good for the most part out here. We're blessed with mostly sunny and dry days, so for the most part, we don't deal with a whole lot of trail deterioration. Maybe a little on the loose stuff, but even then, they hold up really well.
Cool. Well, from the background, it looks beautiful out there. So, I'll kind of break it down. Mile High in Denver is kind of my second home. I love riding there. I love the crew there. I love the people there. Just a great vibe of what's going down. Some fun group rides in the city, great trail rides, even located near the city. You don't have to go that far outside the city. Denver holds a near and dear place in my heart. Let's go break it down. What's going on this season? How many trails you got? Where we racing at?
So this year we've got 10 segments. We reused a few from last year. Erie single track in particular, we've got 2 really nice pump track bike park style segments out there. Both really work you quite a bit. They're good training facilities. So we ended up reusing those. We added a handful of new segments, another bike park rhyolite. Those are probably medium to advanced style. I want to say pump track, but they're definitely got kickers in them that are much more bike style or bike park oriented, if you will. So things that kind of let you get up to speed, and then you find out about halfway through that there's still some pretty significant terrain to get yourself around. So those on top of a handful of other new, just kind of standard trails. Pretty much all downhill for this year. We're trying to still continue with the downhill or flat only. Just kind of keeps the playing field level, I would say, as more people come up on the power side of things, whether that be through a GT or a vest. We'll probably make a shift to more uphill situations, if you will, just to kind of keep things interesting.
Enrique, do you have a favorite?
I think Memon, which is new this year to us. There's 2 trails there, and I've really enjoyed it. It's a very like slope style, flowy trail, and you have to really watch out for some certain little weird terrain, such as like ruts and tight corners. But that's just been one of my favorite, and I've only hit it a handful of times now, maybe like 4 times, 5 times, and I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, I really like the trails I hit there. I love they were one, you could hit a lot of trails in a short amount of time. 2, they're these mountain bike like flowy, jumpy, kind of hippie type trails, which I liked, at least the ones I rode. They're kind of humbling because they look easy, but then you get on them and you realize that like to go fast on them, you have to have a certain skill, which now I respect where Riley's coming from. And by the way, I mean, anybody that doesn't know Riley, he's one of the top riders out there, always starting to come up in the top 10 of these big circuit or races out there. So I'm rooting for you.
Appreciate you.
A lot of competition out there. So any big up and comers? Anybody you want to give a shout out to on these trails that are kicking butt?
I would say Andrew Coleman down in the Springs and Gideon Washington as well. They're both down in the Springs right now, and they're coming up here, hitting these trails, putting some really good times down and making us work for it. So they're right on a lot of our tails, or we're right on their tails. So they've been awesome to work with and ride with.
Yeah. I'd also say, go ahead.
Go.
I'd say also Gregory Ingram. He's no surprise to us, no stranger. We've always known as Greg as a hardcore shredder. We got Greg out to his first race at Dirt Surfers, and he both won the excursion and the downhill enduro. So to see somebody like him that we've kind of held high up on our list go out and show everybody else what he can do. He's somebody to watch out for. I think next year he will officially be popping into the 50 and up class, whether that be masters or whatever they want to call it. So to have somebody of that caliber hanging with younger guys like ourselves, it's a good admirable thing to have in the community. Also, Trevin Brandhorst, we will dub as our main hype man, if you will. Always spreading the stoke. Always hitting trails as much as he can. He's been pretty much getting drug around with me for the last couple of years, and the improvements we've seen out of him alone is just goes to show what kind of stuff you can gain out of hitting these segments and riding trails consistently. So Greg and Trevin doing great work. Keep it up. Same with Andrew and Gideon. Appreciate you guys coming up and giving us some more to fight with.
Trevin's a fun dude to have at your any group ride. I mean, whether he's the fastest guy or not, it doesn't matter. It's just fun to hang out with him. So, like you said, good hype man. I know he did well at Dirt Surfers. I think he had a placing in the GT Enduro So good for him.
Absolutely.
So good crew, man. I mean, that's what this is all about. It's not all about who's the fastest all the time. It's about having fun, and you got a good crew down there. And I'm jealous because I would love to ride with you guys more. But I love that area. I love the trails. I love the vibe that you guys got going on. So yeah, let's talk about some sponsors. Who do you got supporting the Mile High out there?
So we've got Armadillos, Electric Bigfoot, Burst Racing, The Float Life. We've also got Tech Rails and our local favorite, the Denver Mob Shop.
We also have Badger.
Yeah.
Was it Omega?
Alpha Omega.
Alpha Omega, Overlanders, the Flux Skins, Function Wrist Guards, and then the Float Gang, which actually shout out to Eric for creating these awesome logos for us. So
thank you, Eric. We really appreciate all the hard work you did for us.
No regrets.
Yeah, yes. That's right.
What's this Alpha Omega? I haven't heard of it. What is it?
This is the Overlanders. So he was local to us last year. I think he may have made a shift down to Bentonville or somewhere in that area. So, yep.
Hey,
but
cool.
Thank you, all of our sponsors. You guys have been, the glue that kind of holds all of this together, if you will. We put the work in to find the trails and post everything up, but it's your guys' hype and your products that, have our riders coming out to go after it. We got a lot of people that just love it for the sport, but, having some cool prizes from you guys to, further entice our local people, it means the world to us.
Yes.
Yeah, no, for sure. The sponsors help the world go around. We all have day jobs. We're all making we're not making money out of this. And unfortunately, this kind of stuff costs money. It takes money for trophies or for prizes or for whatever we're doing. And, we can't do it without sponsors. And luckily, we have a lot of support. So shout out to all those companies out there supporting us. For the sponsors, let's go into standings. So let's go from maybe the top 10. What do you got?
We'll do that.
All right. Starting off, we had a little invasion, if you will. The Silvas stopped by on their way home from Dirt Surfers and put some work in.
Silvas, always attacking.
Mercedes and Austin, they kept their roll going from the previous weekend. Pretty much clean sweeped us for the most part. Mercedes put up some serious times. Austin pretty much won everything out, whether that be by a second or 20 plus. So yeah, they came in and put some work in.
I saw that. So props to the Silvas and Austin. Mercedes. Mercedes was fast, making the boys look slow. And I'm a fan of Mercedes. I don't want to get in her head because I know she's very focused, but man, I think she could be the person to beat this season.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and I, I'm friends with them both, so it's good to see them. So it shows that an outsider can come in and put some serious time in a short amount of time. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say we don't have the most consolidated professional riders, if you will, or aiming to be professional for that matter, like California per se. So, if you want to come in from out of town and you're already somebody who's doing well, in other circuits or other races for that matter, no, not difficult at all to come in and, take some good times. But we've got a lot of fast riders, too, that are definitely going to make you work for it. And we obviously have the luxury of hitting them, multiple times. So, but yeah, we've got them placed well at this point. So if you came in from out of town, you could easily hit all of the 10 segments within a couple days and put a pretty good effort down at all of them. So
as much as this is all about. That's what it's all about. I want invaders, but I also want the locals that have the advantage. So, $1 million question: are you going to be able to bump Austin out?
I think so. It depends if Austin decides to make a run back.
I don't think he will.
Yeah, I try to hit these in kind of waves. We've got 3 months, so I try to get a good initial time up, something half competitive, and then as the event progresses on, and I get more, worked out of my winter slumber, that I can kind of level up as the season goes. So hopefully by the end of things, I've got a little something for them. And for that matter, we've got other riders that are at my skill level too. So there's plenty of people that can come in and make some waves and put themselves high.
Your current you placed second, right?
Yep. Coming down the list, I am at number 2 behind Austin. So
it's a close second too, right? Like, I mean, it's very close.
He's got me on a couple or a few. I've got him on a couple. I've got some local riders ahead of me on a few segments where I, for whatever reason, wasn't on my game that day and wasn't able to get what I needed out of it. So between Austin and even Enrique and others within our community, I've got some work to do to get back to that. But that's what keeps it kind of fun too, for that matter. We all like the chase. So having somebody above your name reignites that fire and gets you back out there and gets you going. So I'm looking forward to, trying to re-up some times and tackle them.
Hey, it wouldn't be fun if it wasn't hard. You got to have some competition. So who's at number 3?
Go ahead, Greg.
So at number 3, we have Greg Ingram, 49, and out here kicking it like he's 25, killing it.
Which we talked about him. Clearly, there's something in the water in the Springs, and older guys and Clydesdale's just kicking ass in Denver. So.
Oh yeah, it's not just skinny dudes here. Everybody's fast.
Got a whole ride. Yeah, no, he's killing it. And then 4th place, we have Springs rider Gideon Washington. He's out here hitting the trails with his wife. I think it's like about her first year actually trying to compete, and she's doing really well. We're gonna have groups out there. It's exciting to see. So, and then right after Gideon, we have Mercedes Silva. She's killing it. She's right up there with the boys, and that's amazing to see too. So Mercedes 5th, 6th we have Andrew. Also, that comes down with Gideon and Jess, his wife, Gideon's wife, and he's about Clydesdale weight, and he's just killing it. He's making us work for it. He's right on our tails, and we're also right on his tails. So that's awesome to see. And go right for it.
Yeah. So number 7, and I do want to add a little bit more to Andrew. I think this is Andrew's kind of first year. Getting into the competitive nature of the racing thing, and to see him competing at the level he is, both locally here within our circuit as well as dirt surfers, just tremendous effort. The guys are putting a lot of work in. Him and Gideon both, they have to add a bit of a drive, a good hour and a half or so to their trip for all of the segments. So to see them putting that kind of effort forward is, really awesome.
Cool.
Number 7, we've got our man right here, Enrique Garcia. Enrique's got a few more segments to hit. I expect once he finishes those off, he's going to be bumping up to the top 3 himself. So he's going to be giving Austin and Greg and I a little bit more work to do, some shuffling of cards. So another gentleman, Ryan Hupman at 8th place. This is a good buddy of mine who's primarily on the trick side of things. He likes skateboarding and doing the fancy stuff, but he's a very well-rounded guy coming up on the trail trials as well. So we expect to see him bumping up here in the next few weeks or towards the end of the event.
Absolutely.
9th place, we've got Tony Roberts. Tony and I actually ran through the day before he moved out of town. He headed to North Carolina. We hit all of the segments in about 2 days' time. He's at 10th or 9th place.
So is it safe to say we'll see him at Wheel Scorchers?
I would hope so. I would hope Tony will be repping us well at Wheel Scorcher. We made sure to send him off with a Mile High Trail Trial jersey, so you should be able to find him pretty easily.
That goes to show that anybody can and hit these trails and within a couple days and get some good times down. So,
any other representation at Wheel Scorchers from Mile High? Are Riley, you going to be going?
To be honest, I wish I could make it out there. Unfortunately, the middle of this month and July, pretty much as a whole, are a little slam-packed for me. So I think until Float Life Fest, that's about all you'll see of me. I don't know that we've got many other locals making it out there, unfortunately. We got too much time on the job, I'm afraid.
Damn, those guys have to work, you know?
I know
this,
it, right?
This work thing's getting in the way of my one-wheel career, you know?
I keep telling them that. They don't see it from the same light I do.
All right, who we got? We're at 9th or 10th?
Number 10, we've got Jeremy Hastings. This is another guy, probably his first year racing. Sounds like he might be pulling the trigger on a GT here soon. So we're expecting him to drop some times and maybe jump some places as well. So I would say overall our top 10 is quite competitive at this point. As far as our top 3 to top 5, I'm really excited to see what happens because I honestly don't know. I'd like to think that I've got what it takes to pull it out. Enrique, I'm sure, feels the same. Yep. And Gregory Ingram, a force to be reckoned with, up until recently, especially now that he is on the full GT grind. He is just continuing to drop time and continuing to get better and impress us all. So very competitive field. I think we're in for a wild ride towards the end of things.
Well, like I said, Mile High in Denver is my home away from home. I love the trails out there. I love the people. I think that, the finals, the goal is to have a little bit of a team concept. It's not all team, but there's some individuals. So the top 3 will have to rely on each other to get some work done, and that'll be cool. Oh. I have a lot of high hopes for my Mile High team, and so I'm excited to see the breakdown. I mean, I know you guys got some fast riders because when I rode out there and I tried to put some times down thinking like, well, I'm the shit. I should be able to get like top 3. And then I was like, wait a minute, these guys are pretty fast. Like I can't hit these fast enough. So you guys are good. I get it. There are no slouches. And Riley, I know you're fast, dude. So, put the work in, get out there. So side note, you were talking about people upgrading to GTs and stuff like that. Are Riley, you a XR or GT guy?
I would like to say up until the last few weeks, I've been pretty exclusively an XR guy. I felt good on my GT, but based on my weight, which is about 130 pounds, I felt that I was, based on the time I put on the board, still more competitive on the XR. As I see guys with similar weights and riding styles to myself advancing, much further on the GT, it's come to tell me I need to, get more competitive and fluent with the GT itself. So I think here in the next few weeks, I'll be making a somewhat full-fledged hop over to the more power side of things. I think
lighter guy. Fair judgment. Yeah. Enrique, what do you got?
I'm rocking a stock XR right now, basically stock. I have the TFL Enduro tire on there with the, Cushlow, yeah.
Yep.
Well, get this guy on some WTFs and let's see what he can really do. I'm joking aside. I think respect to everybody who rides their own style. There's nothing against stock. There's nothing against GTs. There's nothing against Vesk. There's nothing against pints. Find your fastest ride and show us what you got. Every board can be fast, right? It's the rider, not the board. So respect to you, dude. If you're killing and crushing times on a stock, besides that enduro, I got props to you because I can't do that.
It's very much of what you're accustomed to. We kind of joke around every now and then calling these our steeds, if you will, but you very much need to have some chemistry with whatever you're riding, and whatever actually clicks for you and makes the most sense, that's just what it is. And run what you brung and see where you hang.
Yeah, and I placed second last year in the Mile High Trail Trials with the stock board, so it's totally possible to rank up there with the stock.
Nice. Yeah, cool. Yeah, no disrespect. As I get older, and I no disrespect to any setup, including straight board from the box. Yeah, I can't do it, but that's what I love about what we're doing is you have the option. It's not something that you're like, well, you know what? Here's your stock board, whether you ride it or not. So ride what you bring. All right, cool. So we got everything. Is there anything else you got to want to add? Anything? Any props to any individual sponsors? Anything you want to discuss about Mile High before we close out?
Huge shout out to the sponsors. That's what gets a lot of the people out here, makes it seem very official. So that's beautiful. We love that. Huge shout out to them.
Yep. I'm going to take it one step past the sponsors down to the gentlemen that run a few of them in specific. Corey from Armadillos, Dave Function, John Stock from the Mob Shop. You guys have all been just exceptional, far past what we have, expected or hoped to get out of you guys. You're just solid human beings, and we really appreciate having you guys supporting us and, behind us bringing this up. So thank you guys. Thank you all the riders for that matter. Without all of the contestants and the people participating, we don't have any reason to do this. So it's you guys that keep this moving along.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. Cool people. Even if they weren't selling anything, I would still want to give them props. All those people you had mentioned, John and Corey and all those dudes. They props to you for being cool about what we're doing.
I hate to single anybody out in specific. All of you guys are excellent. You've done tremendously as far as pushing us forward and helping us continue to grow in a professional manner. So thank you all.
All right, well, I'm excited to see what happens towards the second half of the season. I think some cool shit's going to go down. I want to see you come up to first, but I think there might be some more attacking going on. Maybe just not Austin. You might see some outsiders coming in because the secret is out of how cool Mile High is. I appreciate the Mile High jersey. This thing's awesome. I rock it wherever I go. Hey, I appreciate everything you guys do at expanding this circuit to what its potential is. I'm excited about finals. We could talk about that a lot later, but I think it's going to be a lot bigger than what we had last year, which is a lot. I would agree that it's hard to beat last year, even though a lot of people weren't involved in it being a grassroots event. People were pretty happy with it. So cool, man. At that note, my beer is almost done. So
thanks for having us.
Thank you again, Ryan. Like I mentioned, it was probably about a year ago this time, or maybe a little earlier yet, that you started the circuit up, and I reached out to try to figure out how we can get involved. A lot of this here is, from my own ambitions, knowing that I potentially, had what it took to hang with the big guns, but never really having the opportunity to, see for myself. So I appreciate you bringing us under your wing and, extending this to myself and everybody else in our circuit who competes, to give them the opportunity to, see where we stack nationally and, continue the fun.
That's what it's all about. I mean, I think we've just scratched the surface on what's possible for this funness that's going on. And hopefully we get a cool finals and solidify a national circuit and go from there. So Riley, you're the dude. I enjoy. Thanks for all the hospitality every time I come into town. John too, but thanks to the crew at Mile High. Denver's my boys, and I hope to get down there soon and maybe put some times down in Mile High before it closes. So cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Cheers.
All right, well, that's it. Cheers.
Cheers.